Hello friends, welcome back to Digitalk. In this session, I am going to cover the node manager. What exactly is a node manager? What is the role of node manager? What are the benefits of node manager? What are the important configuration files? What are the important parameters? What are the different important directories that is specifically related with the node manager? So that is all I am going to cover in this session. Okay, so let me start with the node manager. What exactly is a node manager? So if you go to the internet, or if you do search the node manager in the Google, okay, the definition that you will get, it is used for remote administration of the WebLogic instances. Remote administration of the, okay, let me change it. Remote administration of the WebLogic instance or instances. So what exactly it means? Remote administration of the WebLogic instances. So it's simple. Let me explain you with the architecture. Okay, suppose that we have this machine. Okay, and in this machine we have one admin server is running and one managed server is running, which is with the name of managed server 1. Okay, and this is our second machine. Here we have managed server 2 is running. Okay, and these two machines are in the cluster, right? So now in each domain we will have only one admin server, irrespective of the number of managed servers, whether it is number of managed server you have 2, 4, 6 or n number of managed servers in a single domain. That in a single domain we always have only one admin server. You can't have more than one admin server in a domain, right? So now if suppose that you are going to stop your managed server, okay, which is on the other machines. Let me write one more. This is your managed server 3. Now generally what we do, mostly we start the managed server from the admin console. We log into the admin console and then we go to the servers. We'll click on the control tab and then we select the servers and we stop the servers, right? So that means whenever we start the managed servers from the admin console, it always use the node manager. Okay, and this node manager has to be on each and every machine and for each and every domain. Okay, I will explain you what exactly I'm talking about. So this is a small architecture where we have a 3 managed servers on 3 different nodes. Node 1 is running your admin server as well along with one of the managed servers, right? So now suppose that you are going to start your managed servers. Okay, so what will happen? This admin server will first contact your node manager and this node manager will contact your managed server. And this is the way how the command is going to be initiated. For this machine, again, your admin server is going to contact this particular node manager. And from this node manager, the command is going to be fired on your managed server. Okay, the same will be followed here as well. Your admin server will first connect to your node manager on the same machine as well, and then it will initiate the command to start the managed server. So that means one thing is very clear. If you want to stop your managed server, or you can say you want to control your managed server from the admin console, then you always need a node manager. Without node manager, you can't stop the managed servers. This is one of the primary need, right? So one thing is very clear. Node manager is an independent utility. Independent means there is no relation with the WebLogic. Relation in the sense there is no impact on the WebLogic if your node manager is going to be down. Okay, with respect to certain functionalities, like if your node manager is down, you can't stop your servers, right? Because your admin servers always contact your node manager and the node manager contact your managed servers. So if your node manager is down, your admin server will not able to stop your managed server, but there wouldn't be any impact on the applications because applications running on the managed servers. Okay, so your managed server, your application will be accessible and there is no impact on that. Thus we called node manager is an independent utility. Okay, now second thing, what I said, this node manager is required on each and every domain, which is called the per domain based node manager. Okay, so earlier in the 11G and earlier versions, we will have only one node manager on each and every machine. For example, this is a machine, and in this machine we have a multiple domains. Okay, one suppose when we have a development domain, we have a testing domain. Okay, so earlier there were only one node manager on each and every machine, and all the domains were utilizing the same node manager which was on the machine. Okay, but now 12C onwards, we have now the per domain based node manager. That means irrespective of the number of domains in a particular machine, you will have a node manager for each and every domain. Okay, for example, if suppose that this is a machine, okay, this is the primary domain, And along with that, if we have a one more domain, domain 2 as well, so this domain will have the corresponding node manager. It's simple. It is called the per domain based node manager, right? So what was the drawback of that one? Why we have a per domain based node manager? So that the concept that I have been discussing all about this session, okay, it is very important from the interview perspective as well. Each and every concept that I'm going to explain is a very practical concept, and definitely you are going to face in of the interview of the WebLogic whenever you are going anywhere. Okay, so now per domain, and earlier it was the single machine-based node manager. Okay, so what will happen in that case? So suppose that you have a in a machine. Let me draw it as well. Okay, so you will understand it easily. So let me take this one. For example, this is a machine. Okay, and here we have a domain. I'm talking about the earlier architecture where we had only one node manager. So now we have domain one, and then along with that we have a domain two. Okay, and in the machine, as I said earlier, we had only one node manager, right? So this was the node manager in the machine. So this node manager was controlling your domain one and domain two. Okay. So for example, if you are going for any kind of a maintenance of domain one, okay, then you may need to bring your node manager. And if you are going to bring down your node manager just because of you are doing something on node domain one, then this node manager will not be available for domain two as well. Right, so there was a dependencies between like that. If you are doing a certain kind of a maintenance where you have to shut down the node manager, then this node manager will not be available for each and every domain that you have in that machine, right? So now to avoid this kind of architecture, now we have the per domain based node manager. For example, for domain one we have a node manager one, okay, and for domain 2 we have a node manager 2. That means each and every domain will have own node manager. Okay, so when you configure the domain using the configuration wizard, okay, and during on the node manager screen you see this option, right? Per domain based node manager. So this means each and every domain have a separate domain. So what we have learned so far, node manager is an independent utility. Okay, and why we call independent I have explained. It is used for the remote administration of the WebLogic instance. Remote administration is very simple, meaning that when you are doing starting from the console, start stop from admin console. If you will not configure your node manager, or you can say if you do not have a node manager defined on the admin console, then you can't start your manage servers from the admin console. That is very clear. So that means we have a script yet in the domain which we use to start the manage server as well, right? If you want to start it from the using the scripts. So if you go to your domain, okay, and then domain and bin directory where we have all the scripts, okay, environmental configuration script and startup stop scripts, okay, where we have a start weblogic dot sh or cmd in Windows. This is for the admin server. Similarly, we have a script for starting the manage server. Start manage server. Start managed server. Yeah, let me correct. It's not start managed server. It is a start managed weblogic dot sh or cmd on Windows. So this is a script that we use, okay, to start your managed servers, okay, from the script, right? So what is the syntax for that? When we start from the command line, we have to give the name, this is script start manage weblogic, and then we have to give the managed server name, and then we have to give the admin server URL, right? Admin IP, and then admin port. This is the way we start from the command line. So when you are going to start the managed server from the command line, you don't need the node manager if you are going to start with this script. Okay, you don't need the node manager. But if you are going to start your managed servers from the console, that means you need node manager. So this is the one of the big difference between when we start the managed servers from the admin console or when we start from the script, right? Now apart from that, when we configure the node manager, we associate it with a machine. Okay, so this machine is an logical entity, okay, which define your server. It could be your physical server or it could be a virtual machine. Okay, so that means whenever you need to configure a particular node manager, first we create the machine and then we assign our node manager to that particular machine. Now, what does it mean? Let me explain you that as well. It's very simple. Let me define a machine or a server. So suppose this is a physical server or a virtual machine. Okay, and the DNS of this machine is, or I will take the example of IP address 192.14.3.1. This is the IP address of the machine, right? So when we configure a domain in this machine, okay, we have to create a machine, right? And once the machine is defined, which is a logical entity, we create the node manager, okay, inside this particular machine. So this machine is referred to this particular where you are going to install the your WebLogic server, right? So let me suppose the DNS of this machine is machine one. Okay, so when I will define the machine, so what we do basically when we define the machine as a best practice, we define it with the name of or the DNS of the machine itself. Okay, so suppose the DNS of this machine is machine one. Okay, so I will give the machine as a name machine one. Inside that I will define the node manager, and to this node manager I am going to assign this particular IP, right? And this is a very important configuration, specifically when you are in a horizontal cluster like this one. Okay, so when we create the different machines from the admin console, okay, so we have to create the node manager configuration for each and every machine, and to each and every node manager, you have to make sure that you are specifying the IP address of the corresponding machine, right? So this is about your machine and the node manager. Now, one more feature we have specifically for the node manager. So what we have learned so far, it is used for the remote administration. Okay, that means if you would like to stop your manage server from the console, then we need to use the node manager. Now, along with that, it has a feature of auto restart. So that means if any of your managed server get crashed due to any reasons, okay, it is automatically started by your node manager, right? So this is called the auto restart feature. So along with the remote administration, we utilize this node manager to automatically start your managed server, which is crashed due to any reasons. Now you can control this feature as well. If you would like to disable this auto restart feature, you can disable that one. There are a lot of clients that want to have a proper reason in place before you are going to restart your managed server, or maybe for multiple clients they want server to be started first and then you go for the RC. But some of the clients want that whenever any server get crashed, they wanted to get in a call and then they wanted to have a real-time troubleshooting what exactly happened that time. So based on requirement, you can enable disable this auto restart feature. You can disable it from the console as well. Okay, and you can do it from the script as well, or you can define in the script as well. And let me explain you what exactly that I'm talking about. Okay, so let's first me give you that some important directories. So the first important directory is your uh, node manager home. Okay, which is your directory inside your domain. You will have a folder called node manager inside your domain. So this node manager folder, which is inside your domain, this is called the node manager home. Okay, you will see a certain files inside this particular folder. Okay, but the main important configuration file of node manager is node manager.properties. Okay, this is the most important file which contain maximum parameters that you deal with on daily basis. For example, if you would like the default port of node manager is 5556. If you would like to change it, so what we do, we change it in the node manager.properties file, and after that you have to restart the node manager to take it effect for the new port, right? Similarly, we have a listen address, and this listen address we have defined here when we create the node manager, right? This is the IP address of your machine. So this listen address is also defined inside this one. Along with that, you would like to define the log file name path or the name of file. You would like to change the path, or you would like to change the node manager log file name. You can do it here as well. Along with that, we configure the secure mode. Like if you would like to configure your uh, node manager in SSL mode or the in the plain mode. Okay, before that you have a parameter called secure mode. So there are multiple other important parameters that we define in the node manager.properties file, and this file you will get inside the node manager home, which is the domain folder, and inside domain you will have a folder called node manager. This is the important directory and the configuration file, right? Similarly, we have one more location for your node manager. Okay, and let me tell you what exactly it is and what is the location of that one. So location of that is, you go to domain Inside domain, you will have a folder called servers. Inside that, you will have a multiple folders for each and every admin server and manage servers. So for example, let me go to the manage server one. Okay, you go to manage server one inside your server directory. And once you are inside that, you will have a folder called data. And inside the data, you will have a node manager directory. So this is the another important directory of your node manager apart from your node manager home. Okay, in this file also we define multiple parameters specifically for the node manager. For example, there is a parameter called restart max. Okay, so this restart max is related with the auto restart feature. So as I said earlier, it has a feature that if any server get crashed, it automatically restart that one. Right. So how many time it will try to restart? For example, if your node manager try to restart the server, but it get failed again. Again, your node manager is going to try to restart that, and again it is going fail. So how many time it is going to attempt to restart the server? Because there could be multiple reasons. If any subsystem is crashed or subsystem is not working, then every time you will try to restart your managed server, it will always get failed. Okay, it will not come up. So for that, you can assign a certain kind of restrictions here. Okay, for example, restart max. So for example, if you are going to define it as a 4, okay, then your node manager will try to restart a managed server which is getting failed 4 times. If in 4 attempts it is not going to be started, then after that your node manager will not try to restart that. Okay, and apart from that, you have some more parameters like restart delay interval. So delay interval is that, for example, as I said, it will try to restart 4 times. For example, the first time your node manager tried to restart it, it get failed. After that, it has for how long it has to wait before it is going to make another attempt. For example, I want when the first attempt is failed, it should wait for 5 seconds or maybe for 10 seconds and then go for the second attempt. Okay, so that means for subsequent attempts, it will has to wait for 10 seconds before going to try to restart the managed server. So this restart delay interval defined the same for how long it should wait before starting the managed server in the next attempt. Okay, and apart from that, it has a admin URL as well because your node manager is always take the command from the admin server. So this admin URL will contain your admin server IP and the admin server port. Okay, along with that, you will have a auto restart parameter here as well. So as I said, the node manager has the auto restart feature which you can enable disable as well. So here you can, if you would like to, default is true. Okay, if you would like to disable it, you can make it false, and then node manager auto restart feature will get disabled. So what we have learned about the node manager, it is a remote administration utility. That means it is used to remotely control your managed servers. Okay, for example, when you are going to start stop your managed servers from the admin console. If you are going to start stop using the script, which is a start manage weblogic.sh or cmd, then node manager is not really required. Okay, and now we have a per domain node manager. That means each and every domain will have own node manager, right? And apart from that, when we configure the node manager, we have to define a logical entity which is called the machine, okay, which is specifically related to the physical server or the virtual machine on which you are going to configure your WebLogic setup, right? Along with that, you have an auto restart feature which automatically start your managed servers if it get crash. Okay, along with that, we have a node manager home directory where you have an important file called node manager properties, which contain important configurations. And along with that, you have another directory which is inside your servers, your server name, data, and then node manager, which contain another script which contain all the parameters. So I missed the name of the script. Let me write the name of that one, which is startup dot properties. Okay, so this startup.properties file will contain all these parameters. Okay, if you want to change anything, you can change it here and you can restart your node manager. Right, so this is all about the node manager in WebLogic.